The story of Khamzat Chimaev is not just about a fighter. It's about survival, transformation, and the pursuit of greatness that begins far from the glitz of the UFC octagon. Born on May 1, 1994, in the war-ravaged village of Benuyurt, Chechnya, Khamzat's early life was marked by hardship. His family lived through the echoes of the Chechen Wars, a conflict that had reduced homes to rubble and turned dreams into distant luxuries. The scars of war weren't just visible in the landscape, they lived in the silence of loss and the eyes of a generation raised in instability. Khamzat learned to be tough not through choice, but through necessity. As a child, he suffered a severe fall that left him with a broken nose, a wound that never healed perfectly, but in many ways that crooked nose became a symbol of the grit he would carry throughout his life. He began wrestling at the age of 5, and even then, coaches and locals noticed a fire in the young boy. He trained in rudimentary conditions, no mats, no modern facilities, but his hunger was relentless. At the age of 18, in search of a safer life and better opportunities, Chimaev moved with his family to Sweden. For many, such a move would mean starting from scratch, but for Chimaev, it was a chance to break free from survival mode and begin chasing something bigger. He immersed himself in wrestling and quickly rose through the ranks, becoming a national wrestling champion in Sweden. He dominated local tournaments and began to earn respect in the Scandinavian martial arts community. It wasn't long before Khamzat transitioned into mixed martial arts, fighting out of All-Stars Training Center in Stockholm alongside UFC veterans like Alexander Gustafsson. Chimaev found the perfect environment to sharpen his already lethal skill set. He trained obsessively, often eating, sleeping, and breathing MMA. His teammates joked that he was the first to arrive and the last to leave the gym. He wasn't fighting for fun. He was fighting with a purpose forged in pain and fueled by ambition. In 2018, Chimaev made his professional MMA debut. He smashed through regional competition with ease, earning multiple first-round finishes. But it was his UFC debut that changed everything. On July 16, 2020, Chimaev stepped into the octagon against John Phillips. What followed was one of the most dominant debuts in UFC history. He took Phillips down almost immediately, controlled every second of the fight, and submitted him in the second round. Just 10 days later, he returned to fight again, this time at a different weight class, and destroyed Rhys McKee without absorbing a single significant strike. 2 fights, 10 days, 2 dominant wins. The MMA world took notice. Dana White, the UFC president, called him one of the most special fighters he'd ever seen. Fans were stunned by his ferocity, his fearlessness, and his chilling catchphrase, "I'll smash everybody." Chimaev continued his rise with a 17-second knockout of Gerald Meerschaert, showcasing that his power matched his wrestling. He wasn't just another hype train. He was the real deal. Critics started drawing comparisons to the likes of Khabib Nurmagomedov, but Chimaev refused to be put in anyone's shadow. "I'm Khamzat," he would say. "I'm not Khabib. I am me." But no journey is without setbacks. In 2020, Chimaev contracted COVID-19. The illness hit him harder than anyone expected. He struggled to breathe, was hospitalized, and at one point announced his retirement from the sport, believing he would never recover. Fans were shocked. How could someone so dominant be brought down so suddenly? But true to his nature, Chimaev didn't quit. By late 2021, he returned to the cage and defeated Li Jingliang in dominant fashion. He carried Li across the octagon while talking to Dana White, then submitted him without breaking a sweat. The Beast was back. His toughest test came in 2022 against top welterweight Gilbert Burns. For the first time, Chimaev found himself in a brutal back-and-forth war. Both men landed bombs. Both bled. Both refused to back down. But in the end, Chimaev's hand was raised. He proved he wasn't just a front-runner. He had heart, durability, and championship grit. By now, Khamzat Chimaev had become a household name in the MMA world. Fans admired his ferocity, his work ethic, and the mystique that surrounded him. He trained in silence, but fought in chaos. He didn't care about fame. He wanted legacy. Outside the cage, Chimaev remained true to his roots. He frequently spoke about his homeland, his faith, and his loyalty to those who supported him. He never forgot where he came from. For him, every win was more than a notch on a record. It was a statement to the world. From nothing, I became something. As he continues his ascent, whether at welterweight or middleweight, one thing remains certain. Khamzat Chimaev is a once-in-a-generation fighter. His journey from a war-torn village to UFC stardom is a story of resilience, power, and unbreakable will. In a sport filled with characters, hype, and theatrics, Khamzat brings something raw and real. He's not just fighting opponents, he's fighting the ghosts of a past he refuses to be defined by. And with every punch, every takedown, every win, he carves his name deeper into the legacy of the sport.